on.
Son.
Amanda, do we have, is
We have
Krista?
more and more people joining.
Okay, we're just going to wait a couple minutes. We have some more folks joining. Amanda, do we know where our guest of honor is? Should I call her? I think she just needs a minute.
Needs a minute.
Oh my God, okay. Wait, I gotta mute myself.
All right, guys, we're gonna thanks everyone for joining. I'm Joe. We do this every Thursday. It started with just like our tiny little engine that could real estate team, and you know, we come from contribution. We believe that no one succeeds alone, and we like sharing ideas, and we like doing this together, right? So we believe that there's enough business out there for everyone. And so we like to share ideas, and I learned a long time ago that, I don't know, doing this thing alone kind of stinks. So it's way more fun to do it with other people. So we share a lot of ideas. There's, you know, we've got agents on here. So everybody knows this isn't specific to our team or our brokerage or anything like that. We've got agents from, you know, everything from Remax to KW to EXP to, you know, I'm sure there's some others on here, and that's totally cool. So again, we come from contribution, and so every Thursday at noon we do this training, and we've got people from different time zones, people from different parts of the country, and this is more of like, this is a collaboration, right? And so we you know, we do book clubs, you know, things like that. We just did the shift book. We did a dot loop training last week, which, you know, not a ton of people were on, but it helped the agents that needed it. And what we're going to do right now is I believe that that talent pushes talent, right? And so like a big part of, you know, I like to surround myself with winners, right? Like I want to surround myself with people that are like crushing it. And we've got Crista Trovato here today. Crista is, we're going to be doing a Q&A with Crista. So I met, if it's okay, Crista, I'm going to do a little intro for you. I met Crista. Crista, what year did you move to New Jersey and start real estate?
2005.
2005. Okay, cool. So Crista and I, we did a deal together, and she just was very, I could tell she came from like a business background. She was very direct and to the point. You're from Staten Island, correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah. She had moved to an area I'd never heard of her, and she just came out of nowhere, and she just was selling a ton of houses. And I don't know about you guys, but that wasn't we're recording, right, Amanda? Yeah. That wasn't my experience when I got into real estate. Like it was really bumpy. Well, it's still bumpy, but it was really bumpy. It took me a little while to get started. And Chris is just an awesome person. And like her and I, we have like, you know, we text each other, like we're in a race to see who could take the most amount of listings this year, like in New Jersey. And like, she's beating me, of course. She's a single agent, by the way. And like, we're a team. There's more than one of us like prospecting for business and going on appointments. And she's definitely beating us. And she's just someone that I look up to and respect. And she just like pushes me, right? She like gives me the energy I need, you know, on those days that like, you know, I don't know, man, when I'm not having a great day or I don't want to hit the phones or I don't want to do whatever, you know, she's someone that I can talk to and she kind of gets me fired up. So we're going to get started. Krista, thanks for joining us today.
Wow, that's really nice, Joe. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's true. So we've got, let me see here. Cool. So when did you get your real estate license?
About five years ago, I got my license. I think it was in May. And then I joined, I was with Whitecurt a while. I didn't start full time until really like the following, I would say like December, January. So
you got your license in what year?
2015, and I started full time 2016.
You're like, you're like me, right? I'm like, I got my license 2007. Really, like, go for it to 2008. So really you'd say let's just say you started selling real estate in New Jersey in 2016. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. And it's 2020. It's 4 years later, right?
Yeah. 4 years later.
You're in it 4 years. Is that safe to say?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Not a long time. So what's your deal? Are you a single agent? Are you a team? Or, you know, what does your organization look like? Do you have an admin? Do you have like a transaction coordinator? Like, how do you,
I got a transaction coordinator. about a year and a half ago, who does everything contract to close, which has been really, really helpful. And then my partner, she retired. She was a prosecutor. So she came on with me a couple months back, and she's starting. So we're kind of like leading into a team now. And she's starting to work with like my buyers. And then she's been helping me prospect.
That's awesome. So it's you, your partner, and you have a TC.
Yes.
Okay. What was can I ask you what your production was, like either volume or units or both for 2018 and 2019?
The year before I was on a team, my production was 7 million. I don't remember what the
Fine.
units
Fine.
were. So can you hear me okay?
100%.
Okay, I have the landscaper behind me. Okay. So it was 7 million. I was on a team. And then the following year, which would have been 19, I went solo. I just had a transaction coordinator. I did 15.5, 34 units.
So you did in 2008. So again, you're in the business 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
In your third year, you explored being on a team. Your production was your agent production was 7 million. You
Yes.
broke off, and then last year in 2019, you more than doubled that, and you did about 15 million. Is that about right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Holy crap! All right, we're gonna figure out how you did that, but I have a couple more questions first. Is that okay?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What's your goal for 2020? I mean, like when 2020 started, before like coronavirus and all this craziness, what was the goal?
So the goal was 25 million.
Okay.
And that's 65 units.
Okay. Are you on track to hit that?
I mean,
so like a lot of us, some of us are like readjusting our goals, right? Like some of us aren't, so what does that look like for you? Because we all know that we just started, the first quarter's over, the second quarter just ended, and we just started the third quarter, right? So we really only have 90 to 120 days to put together whatever we're going to put together before the end of the year, correct?
Right. I mean, I think I had to readjust my goals. It could happen, but the problem is there were so many houses that, were taken off the market, or, places, there's just no place for people to go. So I think the new goal is about 19 million. It was 25.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then I'm just going to share this, the top agents that I'm in relationship and mentors and coaches this year with everything going on, surviving is thriving, right? Like if you can get through this year, be profitable and sustain your business, it's a home run, you guys. If you haven't heard that, that's what my mentors, the other agents that we're talking with, like it's cool to like, there's a lot of craziness going in the world right now. If you can just hang on, maintain, like remember, sometimes surviving is thriving. Okay. And I know if you're on this call, you're talented, and everyone on this call I know is definitely surviving, and I think that I know they're definitely thriving. So that's awesome. So that's the thing. I remember like when you tell me you do 7 million, then you do 15 million. And the cool thing, you guys, about Crista is, dude, most of you, even you guys in Jersey, probably don't even know who she is, right? She lays low. She doesn't like, you don't hear her like bragging about her numbers. You don't hear her like, like she does it. She's very stealth. She keeps it quiet, and the results show up at the end of the year. And it's kind of, I love people like that. Like she's got nothing to prove at all, because she just backs it up. She just does it, right? Crista, how many listings have you taken this year as a single agent?
31
listings. Awesome. And then it's a lot of listings. That's a lot of listings. That's pretty cool. So far, we're in like week 27 or week 28 of the year. So that means you're taking more than one listing a week. If we do that math, that's right.
That's the goal. Yeah.
So what I want to know about you is I know that you're not from where do you live?
I'm in Wayside, Ocean Township.
You're at the Jersey Shore for someone that's in like Florida. You're in Jersey Shore.
Mm-hmm.
And then, did you grow up at the Jersey Shore?
No, I grew up in Brooklyn, then I lived in Staten Island, then I lived in Jersey City, and now I'm here. So I moved a lot. I get bored.
So all your business comes from like people you grew up with and your database and your sphere of influence, correct?
No, actually, so my weakest spot is any sort of like sphere of influence or just like friends. I mean, everything for us is almost cold calling.
So let me do this. So that was, I know that
Yeah.
about you. That's why I asked, right? So
Yeah.
so what's cool, so there's a lot of things that are cool about you, right? Like you keep your mouth shut and your results are just like, it's like a cannon, right? Like you don't have to say anything. The results are massive. You got your license 4 years ago. And this year you're going to do something like, you're going to be somewhere between 20 and 25 million. Took you 4 years, right? But like, and I like that. And also there was a huge jump in 2018 and 19. You doubled your business. And then the really cool thing about you that I think, or one of the things that I love about you is that, you know, you and I know each other well, right? So like, and so like, I just know like you moved here from, you came from a different, you owned a restaurant, right? In Staten Island. And then you came to Jersey, you opened up a restaurant for whatever reason, you moved, that didn't work out. So you moved on to real estate. And then how do you get business if you're not from the area? And how do you start putting up these numbers if you don't know anyone? That's crazy.
Right. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from you is you can, you know, if you pick up the phone, I mean, you can get business anywhere. You know, it's really just a matter of, it almost goes down to like contacts. If you talk to enough people every single day, I mean, somebody's eventually going to say yes, you know, and it's just, I think it's really like, I mean, I've asked you this before and I was like, Joe, like, how do you just do this every single day? Like you wake up and people just tell you no, no, and no. But eventually like 20 no's will lead to a yes. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest thing for us. It's, you know, expired for sale by owners, calling around the neighborhood. I mean, that's where most of our businesses come from.
Yeah, it's just mastery. I think our buddy, my friend Dave DeVoe might be on here. He said he was going to hop on. I talked to him this morning. And he was talking with another agent who it's his second year and he's on track to do 10 million. And I was like, cool, what do you do it? How do you do it? And he said like, well, he's like, it's crazy. He just does just listeds, just sold. Like he like called me and was like, he's up in Jersey City, Hoboken or something. He's like, yo, can I just, and they have buildings there, right? So if a unit sells in a building, you just call the building, right? And so like, they call the building and he's like, and it's just like, hey, you know, and it's a really easy conversation, right? It's like, hey, just so you know, my name's Joe. I'm calling from eXp Realty, or I'm calling from Keller Williams Realty, or whatever. You know, my team and I. And by the way, guys, if you're a single agent or you don't have a team or whatever, your office is your team, right? Like you guys are like you're the same brokerage. So you say, hey, my team just sold your neighbor's house at 123 XYZ Street, and you know, due to our marketing efforts, we have more than one buyer looking to get into this neighborhood or this building. You know, and I promised them I would call the neighborhood and see who was looking to make a move in the next 6 months. You know, it might not be you, but who do you know that you've spoken to in the building or in the neighborhood? And this kid's doing he's going to do 10 million or something like that off of just doing those calls.
Joe.
So yes, Brett, there you are.
Just to chime in, it's
your guy,
20
right?
million, and he's actually on the call. Dan Spitz is on right now, so if he wants to speak up,
yeah, Dan,
I can hear you.
Dan, you want to? How do you get your business, man? Can you take a few minutes and just?
Yeah, I mean, it'll take about 30 seconds for me to explain, and that's it. It's all circle prospecting, just listed, just sold. Nothing to do with the sphere whatsoever. Pulled the grid in Hoboken and Jersey City, and literally just go up and down every single block, no matter what type of property it is. Make sure I have the MLS and tax records up, so I know exactly what I'm talking about, and do exactly what you just said. Hey, you know, we just sold X, Y, and Z property. I have a couple other people still looking, wanted to see if there are any numbers that make sense for you to sell at. And then that kind of rolls into the next part of, if it's a no, always push to grab the email, get them into the system, get them on like twice a month market updates. And that's where, you know, you can really start tracking what they're looking at, if they're starting to see more. And that's where you can kind of zone in, and it's all in the follow-up. It definitely took a while to ramp up. But now that the follow-up is consistent and I have 50, 60 people to call daily, that's where the numbers kind of keep growing.
Dan, thanks for sharing that, man. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm so psyched you're on this call. Thanks. So back to the cold calling, right? So like, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're here. So Crista, what are your top 2 lead gen sources?
I would say prospecting. Lately, it's been the expireds aren't there as much, so it's been more circle prospecting for us, for sale by owners and open houses.
Okay. Do you mind if I'm going to break these down, right? So you're telling me the expireds aren't there. What does that mean?
I mean, there's just not as much as there used to be. You know, most things are selling, so you're not really seeing that as much. So we replaced the. Sorry.
I didn't know you were going to be skydiving during the interview.
Sorry, landscaper. No, so we replaced the expired with circle prospecting. So we've been getting a ton of results from that.
And do you do anything different than what Dan just talked about?
No, pretty much. Like, you know, we don't look so much even for an office. Like for example, we just put in an offer on a property that had, you know, 50 showings and 32 offers in 2 days. And, you know, we'll just say, hey, your neighbor's house had, you know, 50 showings and 32 offers in 2 days. We put in an offer for 80,000 over asking, and we couldn't get it. Do you believe it? Like, any thoughts of selling if you could get your number? And then they'll say, well, maybe. And what would that number look like? And then we get into conversations. And then, hey, do you know any houses that were selling in the past that haven't sold? And then we get their contacts, and then we look it up through either like Mojo or we look it up on the tax records.
That's awesome. So I remember what one thing I used to do was I would door knock around houses I sold, and I would bring the 3 contracts, right? I would be like, I would X out, I wouldn't hand them to them. I would X out any personal information, but I'd say like, listen, I would be like, listen, you know, I'd be like, listen, I got 3 offers. I got 3 people that's looking. Who else is looking to make a move? And that stuff works. So like what I'm hearing here, if you're on this call and you've never done this, or you're thinking about doing it, or you're scared to do it, or you're just getting started, is it's just having conversations. That's it. Like, and like, I swear to God, I had this huge aha moment where like an agent of a coach of mine said, like, he's like, Joe, do you know why you did, you know why you built the business you did, or you did whatever, whatever you did? And he was asking me questions so that I would self-discover the answer. And I wasn't coming up with the answer that he wanted. And he basically just said to me, he's like, you just have more conversations with more people. That's it. And I said to somebody, I said to someone recently, like, I think it was yesterday, I'm like, all I do, like, this is it. I have the stand-up desk, right? I'm either here or in my office or in my kitchen. And I have my CRM open. I've got a dialer open. I've got whatever, whether it's with agents or businesses or investment opportunities or listings. Like, I'm just talking to people all day long and just looking for opportunities. That's it. Just have a conversation. It's that. And then like, there's also a really awesome book called Go for No. It's a really easy read. It's a story. It's like 70 or 80 pages. You'll read it like in one sitting. And it's a cool story about going for no. Like, the guy had a mindset where it's like, I go for this many no's, and I know how many no's I need to get to a yes. And that's cool. Now Crista, tell me about FSBOs. How I have a limiting belief, like, and I'm not even teeing this one up for you. Like, I don't think that a FSBO's already said they expireds I get, right? Because they've already raised their hand and said, yeah, I'm willing to list with a realtor. They probably just listed with a crappy realtor that couldn't price it right or didn't answer their phone in this market, right? Or but if FSBO's like kind of giving us the, go get lost by listing by themselves. How do you get a FSBO to list with you? Because I'm scared to even call those people.
I mean, I think I'll call them up and initially we just try to have a conversation with them and, why they're moving, where they're going, why they live there. And then we try to get in there to get a preview. We try to establish, are they willing to pay commission? If they're not willing to pay more than 1%, then we just pretty much like eliminate them off the chart. And then anybody who's willing to pay us a fair, we just ask for a fair handshake. We'll say we have something coming up in the neighborhood and we go check it out. If there's an opportunity to list them there, I'll go for it. If not, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 visits, and it's just really, follow up until they get worn down enough where they're going to list.
So you're just saying all you're doing is getting in a relationship with someone. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to get in a relationship. It's like dating versus getting married, right? Like, if we go on a date, we really like each other, what are we going to do next? We're probably just going to go on another date, right? Or I'm going to meet your parents, or we're not going to just go to Vegas and get married. Like, those results don't really work out very well, do they? So it's just a matter of meeting someone. it's funny. There was like an agent I was talking to yesterday who like he owns his own brokerage, and like I knew we kind of had a similar business, and I wanted to get to know him, and like I just asked him for a cup of coffee. This is like probably like 8 months ago or something. And it was like kind of weird asking him for a cup of coffee. Now we're like friends. We're like texting each other. We're like, dude, but like he's at a different brokerage. I'm at a different brokerage. We're texting. I know he's doing like work to his house. And, we were making jokes about bands that we like. And I was like, I'm so psyched I asked that dude for a cup of coffee because he's my friend now. Like we're in the same industry and he's my friend now. And it's cool. And I was like, like there's the competition thing and ego and all this stuff. And I put all that aside. I was like, hey, you want to have a cup of coffee? Because we probably – I think we were into the same things, and he was in real estate. And I was like, why don't we have a cup of coffee? I think we had mutual friends, and it's just everything starts with a conversation. That's it, right? And so, is that right, Crista? That's kind of what we're saying,
Yeah,
right?
everything is just a lot of conversations. I think the majority of my day is spent just talking to people. I mean, it used to be 2 hours a day, hour and a half, and now I think I have 4.5 hours of my day. There's just so many people to talk to every day.
Dude, my wife's like this. She's an RN, by the way, and she's like, I gotta go. I don't have time for this. She's like, I don't sit in my underwear and talk on the phone with all my friends all day like you do. Like, and it's like she's not wrong. Like she's kind of not wrong, like, and whatever. That's it, So it's just having conversations. That's it, man. And so, talk to me about. Did you say open houses?
Open houses were a big success. And then
Not
obviously,
not this year.
they got,
Right?
up until I would say January, February, we were getting listings from open houses, buyers from open houses. But that got taken away. So those hours just got replaced with, more conversations, circle prospecting. Instead of doing open houses, we were just either doing like FSBO previews, or just calling around the neighborhood.
Cool. So I want to get one thing straight here. So like every single person that invites me over their house, are you telling me that they're not going to list their house with me at that exact moment when I walk in the door, or do I have to get to know them and learn about them and learn about their goals and get in a relationship with them? Yeah,
it's pretty much, I would say 80% of the time it's relationship.
Yeah. So I want to say something here. Like I remember like when I had my first MAPS coach, she would get really upset with me. This is like 2015. She would get really upset with me because I was going on what I was calling listing appointments and I wasn't taking the listing that day. And she would say, you can't, and they would say, I have to qualify the appointment better. She would say, you have to qualify the appointment better. And then I set a goal to go on 5 of these a week, and I did. And I didn't get a lot of listings, but then fast forward 60 days later, all these people just started listing with me because I laid the groundwork, right? And this coach wasn't in production. She hadn't been in quite some time. And we all know that the reason why we do these trainings and we have these conversations is because we know that real estate is changing. It's absolutely changing with technology. There's disruptors getting into real estate and all these things. And so we have these conversations. So we know what's the 3 most important questions I've ever found in anything really in life, especially in business, is, what's working, what's not working, and what can we do better, right? And so so it's a matter of, I went on these appointments. I'll never forget my coach, like, just telling me how wrong I am, and like being mad at me, and like, you cannot leave without the signature. I'm like, it's changing, lady. If I go meet 10 people this week, 2 or 3 of them are going to list with me next week. And that's kind of what happens. And that's what you're seeing right as well, right, Crista?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The old school coaches. Yeah, I can never forget. Like she would just tear me apart. I'm like, listen, I think, and the ones that I did pressure for a signature, I was like the guy when you walk into Nordstrom and the person that walks around following you trying to sell you a pair of pants makes you uncomfortable when you leave the store. That's how I made that person feel. And they didn't call me ever again. They wouldn't take my phone calls. But when I learned what their goal was, and I showed them how I can help them achieve their goal, and I put their goals first, that's when everything kind of changed. For me. Is that the same with you, Crista?
Yes, same kind of feel. It's just, we just made it more, because everybody, we found like everybody goes in and, it's like the me show. I sell this, I do this, I'm that. And, totally. We took that out of the picture, and it's just like, what can I do for you? I come from a restaurant background. So it's like, well, I'm going to give you the best service. Like, what's important to you and how can I get that done for you? Is it money? Is it terms? Is it this? I have stats. I can show you stats all day, but what is it that you need to hear to make you feel comfortable to make this happen? And that became one of the biggest questions for us. And that's when I saw signatures like the no's became more yeses. So it was just for me, it was like better conversations. You know, just really, I think just experience and just better conversations with people.
Yeah, what I took out of what you just said was, the agents go in there and they make it about them, right?
Right.
Very ego driven, right? Very few agents that we see come from humility, right?
Mhm.
And humility isn't putting yourself down. It's just saying, like, putting yourself second, maybe, right? Like, which
Right.
should be the way it is. And that's the way, that's our, you know, our mission statement on our real estate team is for the Joe Oz Group is we're here to help our clients achieve their goals while helping our team members achieve theirs. And all that really means is, you know, someone told me a long time ago, like, you don't, you know, if you help someone get what they want, you don't really have to worry about getting what you want. And then you can all
Right.
kind of work together, which is kind of the thing. But yeah, that's what we see. And like, I'll never forget, I went on a listing appointment like early on in my career. I went on like this is like second or like first 3 listing appointments. And it was just oh God, I wish it was like videotape so we could like show the blooper reel, you know? But this guy, it was on a warm referral from a friend. And he basically said to me, he's like, after I was done with my script, which was probably horrible. I'm sure it was like all about me and not the client. And the guy said to me, he's like, you know what, Joe? We've sat with 3 agents today. And you know what? Apparently, all you guys are number 1. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, you're right. I felt so embarrassed. I was like, damn it, he's right. And by the way, when these clients say things, you better listen, man. And, you know, you better be different. And so, you know, it's not, yeah, it's not about you. If you just make it about the client, and like I just had a conversation we have this massive deal that's, you know, we make jokes in real, like on life support, you know, like I'm like giving, like resuscitating it. And I was talking to the customer and they were like, if you have time, and I'm like, this is about you. You're my number 1 priority. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to get you to your goal. You know, we'll do this, and this. We'll get creative. We'll make it work. If you want this property, we'll make it work. If you don't, just say you don't want it, and it's cool. We'll shake hands and stay friends. So that's what I took away from that, and I think that's huge. The second you make it about them, it's perfect, man. You know, it's like you ever go to a restaurant and it's like 5 minutes before they close, or 15 minutes, or any business, and they're like, we're about to close, and it's like, I'm the customer, like, you know, like it's not about you. Like, I just want to order a smoothie, you know? Cool. How's, you know, so really your FSBO's expired, well, you know, and your circle prospecting. Does that sound about right?
Yes. Mhm.
Awesome. So basically just pick up the phone, right? Pick up the phone. How has coronavirus affected your business and how have you adapted?
Well, quite a few listings that I have. You know, they're still motivated. They'll probably sell next year or the year after, but for now they're kind of set tight. They're deciding to stay. Their jobs are, you know, up in the air. Or, you know, it's been really tough because we have, you know, people who desperately want to sell, but until we can put them in a property, I mean, you know, it's hard. There's nothing, you know, I put up a property in Atlantic Highlands. I had 13 offers. We're 100,000 over asking. You know, I put in a listing, you know, Manalapan, 12 offers first day, 50 over asking. So for the buyers who have things to sell, it's, you know, we have no place to place them. So I think that's where the circle prospecting starts to come in really heavy. But it's kind of like everyone's frozen. You know, that's where we're really feeling it.
So what I heard there was, what I liked about what you said was, you said, well, they might not be selling this year, but they're going to sell again next year.
Next year.
So you're still going to be a realtor next year?
Yeah, we're still going to be here next year.
So like having business, so like you laugh, but agents,
some days I say no, but yeah, we'll be here.
Oh, dude, trust me, I'm going to get a red shirt and a pair of khakis. I'm going to be working at Target in 5 minutes some days. But like, no, I guess what I'm trying to say is, man, the newer people in the business, they don't realize that, like, it takes, I call it the cheese grater to the face. Like, you got to put the cheese grater to the face, man. You got to put the work in. You got to build that business, right? So, like, people say, like, oh, this guy, I can't tell you the amount of new people hitting the phones will say, yeah, you know what? He says he really wanted to sell, but he got a renter in there. And I'm like, cool. What is it, an annual rental? Well, yeah. Did you ask him if you can call him? Dude, call the guy or girl in eight or 9 months. You know, like, just that's a follow-up, man. You know, like when someone says, hey, I'm going to sell next year, I'm like, awesome. Because the cool thing is, especially if it's a FSBO or an expired or whatever that is, nobody else is calling them. And if you call them once a month for 12 months, and then when you get to like 60 days before they're going to list, they're not talking to anyone else. That's yours to lose, right? And but we constantly hear like, oh, they're not going to sell till September, or they're not going to sell to New Year. It's like, that's awesome. You found an owner, you've identified an owner of a house, and they told you that they have intentions in selling in the next 12 months. Oh my God, good work.
Yeah.
There's just two ways to look at things, right? Like, what do they say? Like, if you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change. So, thanks, Krista. You're dropping some Easter eggs here. This is awesome. So yeah, and it's just a matter of having a CRM and picking up the phone and making those calls. When your CRM says call these people today, you know, what do? You just call them, right? Like, hey.
Or just call them. Yeah, it's kind of mindless. We just pick up the phone.
Yeah, and don't overthink it. You know, if you guys are starting to make calls, just make the calls. Like, sound horrible on the phones, because you're going to go through that pain that you're going to go through of sounding horrible, and like the chainsaws in your head are going to you're going to like practice those scripts. You're going to get better a lot quicker, so you don't feel that way. So I think we identified your top sources of lead generation. How many? And by the way, I'm just going to say this: the circle prospecting is awesome because it's such an easy conversation. And in every neighborhood you're calling on is a cool story because everything's selling and it's selling quick. You know, we know we're in the business. When the realtor like posts on Facebook like sold multiple offers, you're like, yeah, of course. Like, if you can't sell a house right now that's priced right, multiple offers, like, you know, you shouldn't be in the business. But to the consumer, they're like, oh wow. Or to like the person in the neighborhood, you know, we have like one of our landing pages called like Nosy Neighbor NJ, and it's like, it couldn't be like, neighbors love to talk about the price of their houses. The majority of Americans, the majority of their wealth or their savings or whatever it is in their home, and they love to talk about it. They want to know what's going on. So they're gonna feel that call from you, and it's gonna be positive. How many hours a week do you lead gen, and do you time block?
Time block between 8 and 11:30. But the lead gen, I mean, it's just, sometimes it's all day long. Sometimes it will go to 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It just depends. Like, if we get on a roll, like, it's almost like when I have to go on an appointment now, I'm annoyed because it's like the only thing I want to do. It's kind of like it's become addicting because that's where like the appointments come from. So now I have to stop and go on an appointment. I'm furious, you know? So I would say on the average now it's become maybe 15 to 25 hours a week, just depending on where the appointments come in.
So I just know this from talking to you. I think like when you have a spare hour in the day, you don't sit on the couch. You just fire up the Mojo dialer and you just start calling people. Is that right?
Yeah. It's like it's, you know, I look at everything, like every house I put it sounds awful, but I put a dollar sign on everyone's head. So this guy's 10,000, this one's 12,000, you know, so every time I'm not on, it's almost like, it's like I got to get on. You know, what else am I going to do? You're
doing, say that again. How many hours a week? Because I want everyone to hear this again.
15 at the minimum, but I mean, it's been 20, 25 hours. It's just because I've been doing it, and I say we, because my partner joined a couple months back. We've been doing it so consistently, and like last year, it wasn't as consistent. There's just so much follow-up now that it keeps dripping over to 2 more hours, 1 more hour, 1 more hour at night.
So, you know, that it's funny, man. I remember getting into real estate thinking like 20 hours of lead gen, that's nothing. I was meeting guys and gals that were commuting in New York City, and they were spending half that amount of time just commuting to their jobs in Manhattan, right? Like, and by the way, you know, during coronavirus, you're just home, man. Like, go sit, like I sit on my back deck and let the thing fly. And, you know, just like if I'm cleaning the house, it's let it fly. Like, what's up? And so you said you're able to put that amount of time in because you said you're not married and you have no kids. Is that correct?
No, I'm married. I have 2 kids. So, you know, like sometimes, like it's awful to say, like, I'm like, oh my, like this morning, like my kids are up in bed at 11 o'clock. I'm like, where are they? They're still sleeping. You know, I'm like, did you guys eat yet? Like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm awful.
Dude, my son's eating Doritos, and I'm like, cool, man. You're good, right? We're going to set some appointments. No, I was talking about you to someone, and they were like, yeah, well, she probably doesn't have any kids. And it's like, no, she has really big goals and she's laser focused. And then the other thing is when you talk about like what you just said before, and I'm trying to like grab the nuggets for everyone. If you're not this is why we share ahas at the end, right? Because you might have heard something. I'm sharing my ahas during this because I might have heard something that someone else didn't hear. But you said like I'm prospecting. I get angry that I have to leave and go on a listing appointment. That's because you're concentrating on your one thing, and you understand that the highest ROI of any activity that you can do is your lead generation, and that's why you're doing so well and why you're succeeding at such a high level. So congratulations, man. I would love, man. Dude. I don't know. There should be like
Thank you.
a picture like a real estate.
Joe,
Yep.
just really quick, and Krista, thanks for being here, by the way. There was a question that popped up in the group chat, so I just want to read it out. Is that okay?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
go ahead.
Okay, great. It says, this is from Bridget. Thank you for being here. If you are doing 15 to 25 hours a week of lead generation, what is your connection ratio? Are you having conversations, leaving messages, texting? And what creative ways are you adjusting to meet with clients, Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, face-to-face, backyards, etc.? Again, if you open up the little group chat, I know that was a lot to take in, but you can actually see the question right there.
Mhm. I mean, we're doing, I mean, at the beginning when everything hit, we were meeting with anybody that would meet with us. So like, I know I did a listing appointment in Jackson, a for sale by owner. She wound up selling it on her own. I gave her 2 weeks to do it and she did it. But we did that on like the hood of a car. We've done them in backyards. And now we're going into people's houses with masks. I think for the most part, once in a while I'll leave a message. I just find if I leave messages, they'll block me. So I don't leave messages anymore. But I'll text them my card, great having a conversation with you. I want to share this information with this guy who just sold around the corner. I try to keep it very casual, like no pressure, almost no formality to it. How you doing? Did you hear about just what went on around the corner? I mean, I think that's our biggest thing. And I try to make most of my appointments from like 1 o'clock on, into like the mid-afternoon. And then, I do have kids, so I try to avoid evenings. I try to take off every Saturday and work all day Sunday. That's what I do.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Krista.
So I was going to say this too, with that, one thing that's worked really well for us is video texting, like just sending a video text. But you kind of got to, like Krista said, it's got to be somebody that you've already kind of had a relationship with. Like when they know who you are and they're just block your number, right? Like when it's cold calling, they're like, all right, this guy's crazy. But then in our organization, I just put it back in the CRM and I tag Sam Marks to call him the next day. But yeah.
Yeah, like we'll say, you know what, I'm going to be around the corner. Can I just stop by for like 10 minutes? Just keep it really, for us, it's just keeping it casual.
Cool. Hey, Krista, what would you tell a brand new agent just getting started? What's your best piece of advice? Like, I got my license 3 months ago. The world's upside down. What would you tell me if I was a new agent?
I think just do, like, some people are really good at Facebook. Some people are good at door knocking. Like, just find the 2 things you're really good at and just focus them. And I think one of the things my coach told me last year that was really useful, I have a tendency to look at the whole picture. I'm not very detail oriented and I get overwhelmed. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing Facebook. I'm not, this one is collecting all this data. I'm not tracking this. And then you have a tendency to kind of do everything and fail at everything. So just find like the 2 things that you're good at and really focus in on it. If it's not cold calling and it's door knocking or Facebook, then do that, and keep I kept my ceiling small. So if my goal was, first it was 12 million and then it became 16 and then it became 25, just focus kind of on the small goals, like down to like every day to weekly to monthly to yearly. And, that for me, that's works, and if you learn how to prospect over buying your leads, you're almost like foolproof. You're economy proof. Doesn't matter where the market is.
Yeah, I love that. Like someone like Krista, like in our organization, we want to build we're building a business that sees no geographical boundaries, right? Like we can go do this anywhere. And that's what I learned. Like when I got to Orange County, a lot of any new agent that was expanding there was putting, and me too, I put a ridiculous amount of money into marketing. Like it paid off, like there was ROI on it, but like if you don't have 50 to 100 grand to spend on competing in this market, like drop yourself in New York City or Chicago or whatever, like, but if you can get, if you can get on the phones and you can do this, it's when you become a business owner and you have to look at your net operating income and what shows up after expenses and things like that. And then you do your price per lead and all that. What Chris is saying is 100% true. So, again, like, we don't want to be just processing transactions for Zillow, right? Like that's not really what we want to do. And again, remember real estate's changing. So, we do Zillow, by the way. I'm not like trying to put Zillow in a headlock, but, you're 100% right, Krista. Now, what would you tell, what would like Krista now tell like a new agent, Krista, like what would you have done differently? That's the question I want to ask. What would you have done differently if you could have started all over right now? Like knowing what you know now, 4 years later, what's the one thing you would have done differently?
I think what I should have did when I first got into the business, I just didn't know anything. I followed all like the old ladies in the office, and I'm not saying anybody's old, but I sat at a desk for about a year. I think I probably I would have got a coach, like right out of the gate. As soon as I got licensed, I would have got a coach. And I would have learned like how to prospect. I didn't do that for maybe the first 2 until I joined a team. I didn't really know anything about that.
Why would you prospect?
Free leads. I mean, it doesn't get any cheaper than that. It's just it's a phone.
Yeah.
And it does, the thing is when you call these people, you get so obsessed with what to say and how to say it. And that's important when you're actually trying to list them. But at the beginning, it's more important that you just get comfortable, speaking to people, total strangers. So, that I think would be the biggest thing. It's just about saying hello. It's not even about saying anything important,
Yeah, of course. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We have a new agent on our team. His name's Tommy. I just texted him. I gave him a heads up that I knew I'd be calling on him. He just started hitting the phones this past week. And he hit me up with, hey, Joe, I had a few rebuttals. I got a lot of nurtures today, but I couldn't set any appointments. Is he on here? Am I setting this up?
I'm right here.
Oh, there he is. Cool. So like, Tommy, what did you hit me up in Slack? You said, I'm getting you said, I'm kind of hot on the phones right now. I've got a bunch of nurtures. Can I go over some things with you?
Yeah.
Chris, would you mind doing a role play with Tommy right now with some of the rebuttals maybe he got beat on today?
You're asking me?
Yeah, you.
All right.
Yeah, this is what you guys want to see, right?
On the spot.
Dude, you just got called out. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Tommy, why don't you call Krista and bring your rebuttals?
All right. You want me to tell you what they were telling me, like when I got stuck, or just act as a regular call right now?
Just do a call. Say ring, 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 and Krista will pick up the phone, and you be the seller or the client, and
all right.
say to Krista whatever she said to you.
All right.
So I think
ring.
Am I doing it right or no?
No, Krista needs to call Tommy, and he needs to give her the rebuttals.
Okay. Man is in charge.
So what are we doing? Like a circle prospecting call, or what kind of call are we doing?
Cold call off of expired.
Off of an expired. So a cold call. Okay. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Tommy?
Yes, who's this?
Hey, Tommy, my name's Krista. I'm a realtor in town. I just saw your property, 6 Glenmere Place. Is that still for sale? Did it sell? I'm assuming it did.
How'd you get this number?
How to get that number? Oh, just a neighborhood list. One of the things I specialize in is selling properties that didn't sell the first time. I have a bunch of buyers in the area looking to get in. So I saw this. I'm assuming you sold. The house looks amazing, but I was kind of in a way hoping you didn't.
Yeah, no, we didn't sell. We actually took it off 2 months ago, but we'll probably put it back on, before the end of the year.
Oh, you put it back on the end of the year. Okay, great, great. You put it back on the end of the year. Where were you planning on going?
Probably to Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. What brings you to Pennsylvania?
Actually, I have a farm, so we're just looking for more land.
Oh, okay. So you found a place already. You ready to go?
No, I haven't found a place, just looking.
Just looking. Okay. All right. I don't know if you know this, Tommy. I saw your property was up and I'm assuming it's sold, but houses around you are going for like 50, 60,000 over asking. If you could sell your house for what you had it listed for, if not for more, would you move sooner or later if that made financial sense?
Yeah, I would just have to find a place first before I sell.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. I have a partner who works down in Pennsylvania. He specializes in farms. I'd love to connect you. I'm going to be in the area today around 3. I'm showing a buyer a bunch of houses that don't look half as nice as yours. Could I pop by and see your house?
Yeah, what realty you work for?
I work for Keller Williams. I'm right in town.
Okay, so you probably I never heard of you, so I'm not too sure. I don't know if I want you to come.
You know what? And I can totally respect that. We're one of the biggest agencies in the area, but I can understand that. But, I do live local and I'm your neighbor. And I could just pop by, even just to give you my card. Will you be home around that time?
Can you call back later? Maybe talk to my husband?
Yeah, I could definitely call you back later. What would be a good time for me to call you back?
Say 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay, I'm actually going to be in the neighborhood at 2 o'clock. So what I could do is just drop off my card, ring your bell, and if you're there, you're there. If not, you're not. But at least then you have a face with the name. I live about a half a mile from you. Did that work?
So where do you live exactly?
Say yes.
I'm 2 blocks over. I'm south over off of Glenmere, over on David. Do you know that street?
Yeah. How long have you lived there?
I've been there about 2 years.
Okay, cool.
So, would it work if my partner in Pennsylvania gave you a call as well?
Yeah, I don't see that should be a problem.
Yeah, he's one of the top agents in the area. And you said you have a wife?
Yeah.
Well, is she usually home at that time?
Yeah.
You know what I would love to do when I pop by later? I could show you this list of buyers I have, and I'd like to just go by the house and see which buyer it checks off for, because we've been losing houses left and right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, I'll see you at 2. I really appreciate the time. Thank you, David.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
That was awesome. Did anyone else enjoy that?
We live everywhere.
Totally. Where's your office? Where's your house? Tom's River. Dude, that's awesome. That was rad. What I liked, I love the beginning where he said, "How did you get this number?" You just steamrolled that thing. You're like, get out of the way. You're not getting me with that one, right? You're like, oh, it's a neighborhood list. By the way, you just went, so we call that just acknowledging and just acknowledge and redirect, right? That was awesome. And then, and I like the rebuttal there. That was probably a hard one as well. I need to find a place before I could sell. And guess what? You guys, you can't have that conversation over a phone. You got to meet people face to face. So Crista just did whatever she could do to get the appointment, and you just want to see if there's an opportunity there, right? Like, you don't even know, like, they could be cigarette smoking in that house and there might be like cats everywhere. And you're like, you know what? I'm good with this one.
Yeah.
There might be a jet ski on the roof and you're like, you know what? This is might not be the house. If you're no one else, we'd list it anyway, wouldn't we? Be a dead body in there. We're like, all right, $299, 6%.
There's a price for anything.
Tommy, did that help?
Definitely. Yeah, I hit it. Because I was just reading a list that I had of people, like what they were saying, and one, like, I gave her 5 rebuttals. I would probably get one only on a certain call, and that one would just stop me, and I'm done. And she hammered all 5 in one call. So it's pretty awesome to see that.
She's just like, I picture Crista just like in the Matrix, like dodging things. But Tommy, we'll connect as well over some of that stuff. But Crista, is it okay if Tommy reaches out to you to role play maybe one day?
Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. Awesome. Cool. So Krista, is there, I'm going to open it up for like questions. If anyone has any questions, and I just want to thank everybody, just like everyone that like, just, I don't know, just like chimed in. Cause really this is a collaborative thing. It's just to share ideas. Is there any questions I didn't ask you that you wanted to maybe share on before I ask for questions?
No, I think the thing that we started to do too is as we're listening to people and their needs, just trying to find like other opportunities. Like we might call somebody and, you know, they're looking for 55 and older. That's not something, you know, like I'm great at or even remotely interested in. I'd rather put my time into things I enjoy. So what we started focusing on too is just like where there are other opportunities and just partnering up with other agents. So we have a specialist in 55 and older. We have somebody that's amazing that, you know, in New York. So we'll send business to them. So like, we don't try to do everything anymore. Just like more partnering up to give us more time, you know, and checks coming from different angles. It's kind of nice.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. So, Krista, thanks for being here. That was awesome. I love that role playing. You're so good on the phones. I want to like go on like a real estate reality show where we like live in the same house and people get like voted off the house who like didn't make their appointments. That's my dream.
I've learned
like,
from you, so.
I don't know, man. Like Gil's a killer too. Holy crap. But like, anyway, it's just fun, man. It's fun. And, you're just looking for an opportunity. And I was telling someone this week where it's like, you know, the seller knows what they want. They know what they want. They just don't know how to get there. Right. And we're just trying to help people get to where they need to get. And we think that we feel we the best person for the job. So we're going to, I'm going to open it up for questions and ahas. If anyone has any ahas that they'd like to share. Again, an aha is just something that, you might have heard that someone else didn't hear. And yeah, I'm going to open it up.
I have an aha. I have a few ahas. Am I muted or can you hear me? What up?
Thanks for joining us.
This is awesome, man. Thank you for inviting me and Brett and Danny Spitz. I love this. I have a couple of ahas. I have a few things. With both Krista and Danny, like what you said in the beginning of the call was that your weakest point is your database. And that's such a huge opportunity because your business is growing exponentially. And the moment you tap into that and start figuring that out, it's going to be like you could go to 50 million pretty quickly because I'm imagining that your past clients are raving fans, even though you may not be servicing that database the right way. So, we'd be happy to help you with that, with building out that plan too, because once you tap into that database, man, you're going to double your business. And with Dan, who was talking before that, and I'm coaching Dan and he's on Brett's team and he's on an amazing team. And he built, 20 million in a few years, just calling, just listed, just sold. So his opportunity with database, and I'm getting him into expireds and FSBOs as well. And I would love to set him up with you for a role play because I think you guys would be amazing together. You're very similar in your approach on the phones, but just the aha for me is like the opportunity that all of us have, right? When you're strong at one thing and you are not as strong in another area, that's such a huge opportunity to build business if you're willing to go do what you have to do to get it. Because again, with your database, it's just call them, right? So I thought that was awesome. And then just to, again, highlight what Joe said before is you did not buy into those objections. A lot of times agents will go into objection world and just like live and try to fight their way out of it. And all you did was align and redirect. Like you barely even acknowledged it and you followed up with another question. And that's so important. Most of the time, we don't even have to handle the objections. You just, you acknowledge it. Sometimes you don't even have to acknowledge it. Just go into the next question. So I love it. Thanks so much for sharing all this and congrats on your business. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Any other questions, ahas? Would love to hear from you guys if you have anything.
There was another question sent to me privately. The question is, do you think mailing to your farm works? This is from someone also in California, so I don't know if that would necessarily apply to New Jersey.
I can answer that if you want. Is that all right with you, Krista?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so if that's a question from California, I'm in Orange County and we do business in New Jersey. And one thing that I noticed here, and Bridget's in Orange County as well. Bridget's you know, whatever, dude. I go to Bridget with all my questions. So she's a very, very validated. But one thing that I noticed when I came to Orange County, I sat down, you know, I met with as many mega agents as I could. And again, the 3 questions: what's working, what isn't working, what can we do better? And then what are your top 3 lead generation? I just spoke about marketing. Like in Orange County, California, you have to be marketing, man. Especially like there's 30,000 people that have their real estate license. To put that into perspective, I think it might be more than that in Orange County. I think it's like 34,000. And where Crista is, there's 6,000 licensees in that county. So with the amount of people and the saturation and things like that. So what I've seen is I just talked to a mega in like Mission Viejo the other day, and they were like, they do Zillow and they do a farm. You know, like a lot of these agents do a massive farm, and no one really does it. Crista, do you know of anyone where you are that does a farm? I don't really know of anyone that really does one, like sends mailers out like twice a month and does like yard sales and things.
Not
like
really.
that.
No.
Nobody really does it, but it 100%.
Not consistently, no.
So put it this way, to answer this question, I did the research on it. We're starting a farm right now. Amanda just built a farm out for the Wanamasa section of Ocean Township. We just pulled the trigger on it, and we built a 135 around it. So we have a plan for a farm. Whoever asked that question, we 100% just give you our plan. If you want it, we'll just give it to you. Like we just made a plan on what to do from like client events to Facebook community page to sending mailers out. And so the national, whatever you want it, like success leaves clues, right? And so does failure, right? So there's someone who's done it correctly. And if they've done it correctly, they've probably done it wrong. So you just need to talk to that person. And so I've researched this out, and the National Association of Realtors, they did a study, and they went to a neighborhood and they asked who the local realtor was. And there was a realtor who won. Like they said, it was this person, like I'm sure like people named this person, right? And then they mailed the neighborhood twice a month for 6 months, then re-asked the question. Oh, they mailed it twice a month for 6 months with a fictitious realtor, like Bob the Builder realtor, you know, like it was someone that didn't exist. The National Association of Realtors did this, right? And then when it was all over, they asked the neighborhood who the top realtor was, and they all said Bob the Builder realtor, like the made-up realtor. So it 100% works. You know, we should probably do a training on that and bring someone in who does it really well. And it's just about consistency. And they say if you do a farm, you shouldn't expect a return for about 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, just to interject here, I'm just going to add from Joe, our most recent Zoom call about farms when we were creating that plan, and we were on the call with Jeff, like it definitely works in California because he was telling us that all of his business now comes just from his farm.
And he's 4 years into it. Yeah. If you guys would like, we'll just do a training on that. I'll have Jeff on. There's a guy named Jeff Gray. He works in Rancho Santa Margarita, and he's had his license for 4 years. And the dude's like, he just listed like the singer of My Chemical Romance's house in Orange County. Like it's crazy. The dude's like blowing up, and people call him, and he doesn't touch the mailers. He's got a whole system, but farming works. You just got to do it. You got to be patient. And he also sits open houses in his farm. Like he was sitting other people's open houses in his farm just so people would see his face and his name and his signs every week. But there's a whole strategy to that, 100%. And by the way, all this stuff worked. Like who just said this? I think it was Crista was like, what would you do if you were a new agent, or what would you tell a new agent? She's like, everyone tries to do everything. There's like a Jay-Z lyric, right? There's a million ways to get it. Choose one. Just choose one and just do it. It all works. Just do it and commit to it and don't stop doing it. It's that simple.
Someone also wrote, Dave DeVoe said, Dan Beer, 32,000 person farm.
Okay, yeah. So Beer's got a farm too. So Beer's in our EXP, like family upline. Yeah. So yeah, of course.
He did the Elevate Dominate call about his farm. We have the recording, so we could give that to you too if you want to use just the recording.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, awesome. So we have resources for this stuff.
I have a question. Sorry. So something like that, right? And you're building out a farm, and you have some profit, but a farm's expensive. And when you're not seeing a return for like, let's say 2 years, 3 years before it becomes profitable, like how do you budget that? Or like, is that something you say, you know what, I'm going to take a loss on it, and you take that out of your budget, like your 25%?
It's not expensive. It's not expensive. It's not as expensive as you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheap. It's so cheap. We found a company, and we'll share all this with you if you want to do like Wayside or whatever, but we do find a company that like, we're not going to even touch the mailer. It's not going to come to the house. It's not going to do whatever. We're doing 2 mailers per month. We picked 3 EDDM routes, which come, Amanda, tell me if I'm like around 1,200 houses or something to start.
Yeah. So it's 1,200.
It's all of Wanamasa. It's 3 mailing routes. and then they get they're getting 2 mailers a month for the first 6 months. One mailer just says Joe Oz Real Estate Group and all of our numbers. The other one just has like a dozen houses that we sold in Wanamasa in the last 2 years. Like, these are some of the houses we sold in Wanamasa. Just get hit over and over, but and what you do is you print everything up front. So the printing's low. It's not as much money as you think. It's really not. And then if you build that business around getting listings, like, I'd rather pay for listings than pay for buyers, right? Because the listings create more. It's leverage. I don't need to tell you guys, right? If I need to tell you guys why you need listings, then I don't know. It's a whole nother conversation, but no, we can do we'll just do a farming training, and we'll get like a couple people on it. And then it sounds like Dave already did one with Dan Beer, who, I don't know, that's probably the dude you need to be listening to. The guy that's doing 200 million. Cool. Any other questions, guys? It looks like we might almost end on time. Crista, thanks for, if anyone needs anything, that we mentioned a lot of resources. Like, again, we come from sharing, we come from contribution. So admin at joeozgroup.com if you need anything. I think there's gonna be a recording of this as well if anyone wants to go back. Or I know that role play was pretty awesome. So I'm sure some people are gonna want to revisit that. And yeah, we're gonna do this every single Thursday. And we're just gonna try our best to bring value to you guys and just create community that we all can succeed in. Thanks for coming.
Does anyone else have one last question? I just want to make sure that everyone's questions are answered.
Amanda?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool. I just had a question for Crista. You had mentioned that, and you might have said this, but I got a phone call during this, so I'm sorry if you're repeating, but that Crista jogs when you prospect, and if you have to stop, like, you can only stop when you get a hold of somebody. Is that true?
Wait, can you repeat that?
Oh, I know what, Stephanie, you're talking about. I said one time you joined us, you were doing a field report on our Monday morning meetings. Thank you again for joining that as well. And you said that you literally will go on a jog and have Mojo Dialer up and then stop jogging and then answer a call. So I like part of it in a conversation the other day in our other morning meeting.
I mean, we just, we try to just hold to the schedule as much as possible, and, stuff always comes up. So, if you have to jump off, it's kind of like you just jump off and then you go back to it, So, I try to keep my schedule as blocked as possible, but, once you're off, it's just habit of being able to go back on. I think that's the most important thing.
Awesome. Thanks.
I have one more question. Hi, everybody. When you're farming, are you just sending to resident, or are you actually getting people's names with the addresses?
What we're doing is we're sending to EDDM routes. So through the United States Postal Service, like, if you have a house if you live in a house, you have a route, like your mail person has a route, and then you can do a mass mailing to that route. And if you Google EDDM mailing routes, all the information is there. So yeah, it just goes to somebody. You bring a big stack of flyers or mailers or whatever, postcards, to the post office, and then they just hand them to the post person, and then that post person just takes them on their route and puts them in every mailbox. So it doesn't have a person's name, it's just a route. So every house on that route gets it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Great. Thanks.
All right, guys, thanks for coming.
Crista, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Tommy, if you want to stay on, or Tommy and Lynette, if you want to stay on, if you guys want to go over your call from yesterday and today, I can hang on.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you, Crista, again so much. I appreciate it.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Oh, also, Amanda, you stay on.